Happy Fantasy Friday. It's time for book club. We are Lindsey,
Kelly,
and Katharine, and this is the Banner and Bookmarks podcast. We are three book besties diving into romantasy with unhinged theories and a bit of spice.
Heads up, this podcast contains spoilers. If you would like a spoiler-free introduction to the book, go back and listen to episode 1, our world-building episode for this series. But for now, we will be covering all things Direbound, and it will absolutely be full of spoilers.
So pour yourself a drink, come escape reality with us, and let's talk about books.
Today we are discussing chapters 16 through 30. So let's start off by summarizing those chapters. Kelly, want to start us off?
Sure. Meryn has just seen Prince Killian for the first time. And to her absolute shock, it is actually the love of her life, Lee. Before she can react, King Cyril wields the Diren Blaed, controlling the wolves, and announces that their first trial is to begin immediately. At the end of the trial, Lee/Killian slips a note into Meryn's hand, asking her to meet him so he can explain himself. He better explain himself. He tells her that he never wanted her to judge him by his title, and that he wanted her to get to know him for who he truly is. On her way back from meeting with Killian, Meryn is jumped, but she quickly kills her attacker.
Although Meryn explains herself, telling everyone that she killed the man in self-defense, the mysterious Stark Therion tells her that the bonded receive tattoos after kills, as a reminder to cherish life overall. He gives her a rather stunning tattoo, and then to seal the wound, he licks her. The next day, Meryn is granted a private room so that she is protected from future attacks.
Meryn and Henry are called to the Direwolves 101 class, which she desperately needs because Anassa is still refusing to help her or communicate with her. After class, she goes back to her room and Prince Killian is waiting for her. He has connected their rooms by a long secret passage.
Meryn finally accepts the fact that she needs help in order to survive this world, and she approaches her new bonded friends for additional training. Finally, it is time for the voice trial, which is the first test that is designed to test a rider's ability to communicate with their direwolf. Anassa blows through the course beautifully, giving Meryn some hope for their future together. She goes to visit her wolf after the trial, telling her that she is finally ready to truly accept their bond, and they finally begin to train as a pair.
Meryn receives a note from Killian telling her that he has some information about the Nabbers. She enters the secret passage between their rooms, but gets really lost on her way through the castle. She starts to hear voices and is drawn to a tapestry and a stone carving of a woman astride a direwolf with an intricate crown on her head. Feeling overwhelmed by the visions that are so similar to her mother's, she passes out.
Meryn wakes up in Killian's room and he tells her that they caught a Nabber. Meryn and Killian go to question the Nabber and he says that they lead children to an abandoned warehouse in the southern quarter before they are moved out of the city. He has no information about Meryn's sister Saela, and in a rage, Meryn kills him. Killian demands the guards find the other Nabbers and shut down the operation. Then Killian and Meryn go back to his room, take a bath, and sleep together.
I have feelings. The next day includes more training and more mind-to-mind arguing with Anassa. Exhausted, Meryn falls into bed and after another bad dream, wakes up in the blood-stained arena. Another day of training passes with more Anassa arguing, some sex with Killian, and even more bad dreams. It's finally time for the next trial, the Purge, when each pack starts to whittle down their weaker numbers within their own pack. Anassa and Meryn pass the trial, and Killian winks at her. But Stark Therion sees the wink, and Meryn's heart sinks.
That was a lot to go through, wasn't it, guys?
So much. Oh, my God.
So much information. But we must tackle one thing first. Drinks at the ready, guys. We must say a fond farewell to our favorite word from this book.
Yep.
The Diren Blaed.
Diren Blaed.
Let's get it out of our systems.
Diren Blaed.
About that Diren Blaed.
About that Diren Blaed. So
Can I pet that Diren Blaed?
Can I pet that Diren Blaed? We are saying goodbye right now to this word because we have had the absolute honor of
Red dwarf.
chatting back and forth with Sable Sorensen about all things
Diren Blaed.
Diren Blaed. All things Direbound. And one of the questions that Lindsey posed to them was, how the heck do we pronounce this? Because we are struggling and we can't not laugh.
Or having way too much fun.
Or thriving. I think we're thriving.
I think my favorite part is literally in the email. I said, how in the world do we announce D R R R R N N N B B B L A A E E E D D D D D?
Diren Blaed.
The Diren Blaed.
And so they actually told us that it was something that, since they have been picked up to be trad published, it is going to be edited out in the trad edition of the book. And so it was originally Diren Blaed because they liked that it was very fantasy sounding, but the more that they dug into the world building and as they started to work on book 2, the more that they realized that it didn't actually make sense. So in the trad published version of book 1, as well as moving forward in all the other books, it will be changed to Dire Blaed, which is what they said that the name of the blade is meant to mean anyway.
Which I think we
the
saw.
New version will have that.
I think that they listen to our
we have
podcast.
To say a fond farewell.
Yeah, I think that they just listen to our podcast
And we're like, those idiots.
If this is what people think it's supposed to sound like and it's so unserious, we need to make it more serious.
Right, because it's a serious blade.
Right.
So
yeah.
Serious.
Everyone toast
to the Diren
Blaed.
To Diren Blaed.
We will be saying it like this for the remainder because we have the OG books, but in book 2, in Fury Bound, we will make the change and we will respect the new name.
Dire Blaed.
But
And
cheers
fair warning.
to the Diren Blaed.
To the Diren Blaed.
We will also say it because we are children.
Also that.
Also,
Yeah.
yep.
But so wait, Lindsey, tell us something else we learned from Sable Sorensen.
If you have listened to probably our first and second episodes, I was so convinced of this theory that I probably mentioned it in both previous episodes that it was shocking to me that we did not learn Meryn's mother's name. And
I agree with you.
I thought when I figured it out, I thought I had solved the mysteries of the universe, like how the pyramids were built, right? Like, I was like, this means so much. I can't believe, like, her name's going to be a secret. It's going to be some big mystery. And Sable's response to us was, I love that you saw that, and I wish I was that clever, but really, it's written from Meryn's perspective, and so she would only call her mother. And I was like,
wow.
Like, you guys, I was convinced that meant more, and
you
it
were
doesn't.
Feral about that, but
I really was.
That is the way we are.
It was my favorite theory for this book, for sure. But listen, how many books have we read and we've been proved completely wrong? But I got the honor of literally being proven wrong to my DM face by the author.
That is an honor.
That's
talks
pretty cool.
to you.
Sable, you rock.
Yeah,
and
seriously.
That theory is out the window, guys.
We'll never talk about it ever again.
Don't bring it up.
But you know what?
Or else Lindsey's going to get really mad and sad.
I still do want to know, what's Mom and Pop's name?
What's her name then?
I think we're going to find out.
Throw it in there just so that we know.
Right?
I think so. I think in the DM they said that we'll learn in book 2. I don't want to go through it right now because I feel like we have so many DMs with them back and forth, but
we've said
we're going to
so
find
many
out.
DMs.
They're the best. They really are the best, you guys. This is my favorite thing too about this community. The fact that Sable has been just so kind and responding to us. It is just so cool. So thank you. Because it makes us feel like $1 million when we're like, oh my God, we know these things.
We get to meet one of them.
I know. In October at
Annie.
Fantasy Book Con.
Yep. It's going to be fun.
Yep. And share it with
guys.
you all. So.
All right, guys, are you ready to get into the analysis? Let's get into
do it.
this
Let me get myself
chapter.
comfy. All right, let's do it.
So, Lee.
Ugh.
He is no longer Lee.
He's officially Killian.
He's Killian. And
I have so many thoughts about Lee.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Think your thoughts.
Well, Lindsey, you had an initial connection thought.
My initial thing was like, so royalty knows about the Nabbers then.
Yeah.
Like, there was always this question in my head of how not serious their organization was, but like how well known it was. And royalty knows. And what are we doing about it? That was my first thought of like, what's being done about it?
Yeah.
They have to know. I wasn't sure at this point if the king knew, but in my mind, if the prince knew, the king knew too. And I was like, call to action. I want to know what's being done.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Killian knew about this for a year. He knew
Yeah.
about the Nabbers right when he started his relationship with Meryn. So it's like, honestly, how useless are you
Yeah.
that nothing's being done?
And in this moment, I had a thought that I immediately pushed down because I didn't like it. I was like, Killian's involved. He knows, and he's part of the reason why. And I was like, no,
Nope.
that's
Trust
not
your
true.
gut.
I'm mad at myself at the end of the book. I was like, no. I started to be like, oh, maybe I get why you would want to not say that you're the prince, and you like, yeah, she probably wouldn't have dated him, the whole thing. But then we get to the first sex scene, and I was like, nope. But I was mad at myself because I was like, oh, he was involved, and that's going to be a big plot twist.
And it's not only that he knew about the Nabbers, but literally Meryn's sister was taken. So like, I completely understand in this moment, like Meryn is furious that she finds out that Killian/Lee has lied to her. And I get it. Like, in my mind, her feelings are absolutely justified.
100%.
Like, I can't imagine being like, you knew what was happening. My sister was taken. I went through this trial, which you helped me through, bonded with a feral creature, and you have said nothing.
Right. No, I completely agree.
I would be furious.
Yeah. I loved her in this moment because I forget what the line exactly was, but she basically was like, our relationship is over. Like, she was like, I am absolutely done in this moment. And I loved that, even though she does make decisions throughout the book that you can tell she's young. Yeah, she maybe can fall back into old patterns. But in this moment, I feel like she was so strong. She was like, no, F you. I am mad at you. I don't want to hear your excuses. I am done.
Yes.
And I was proud of her because I feel like that was her initial gut reaction. And even though she went back and forth and like he manipulated her, I think, a lot and made her waver on that, her gut was like, no, F this, I'm out. And so I kind of loved her. Yeah.
I wish she'd stuck to it, though.
I know.
I agree, because when this whole reveal happens, I'm basically like, this validated all these ick feelings I had about him, all this distrust I had about him. All of my notes during this entire reveal are basically like, he has proven you cannot trust him. He has broken your trust. He had an entire year to say who he was after you did get to know him as a person. And he still chose not to send you off on your merry way, which he thought you would just go to the front.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, you're dead to me. You're dead to me.
Yeah.
You were dead to me from the beginning, but you're really ground into the dirt.
Yeah, I know. I wish you would have stuck to. I think I tend to give I think I tend to give characters a little bit more grace, sometimes to my detriment. Sometimes I give them too much grace because I'm like, yes, in a book, we want our characters to make the obvious right decision. But in real life, we've all made some really stupid, shitty decisions. And so I'm like, oh, I get it. I can see how maybe she thought she loved him, blah, blah, blah. And so I think I gave her more grace, but I do wish that she would have just stuck to it, because that's what we all wish we would have done, you know?
But it was also probably because you kind of you didn't get that initial ick. So you probably weren't looking for something to jump down his throat about.
No.
Versus
this was the first time that I was like,
exactly.
Oh, what?
So it's like you're processing this same as she is processing. You're like, how do I truly feel about this? Am I okay
that's a good
with
point.
it?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
It brings us to actually one of the questions we asked of Sable. Our question was, which character do you think fans have most misunderstood? And this was Sable's response. Actually, maybe Meryn, ? Some readers get really frustrated by the choices she makes, which admittedly are not always the ones we would make. But we really tried to keep her character consistent with who she is, a stubborn, rash, passionate, strong 23-year-old who has never been away from home before and has a lot to learn about the world.
I really appreciated that response from them.
Yeah, and it's true. I will admit that I'm one of them that a lot of times through this book, I was screaming at
Same.
her. And it's a probably right, Kelly. Like, you're probably right in your assessment of like, I probably should have given her a little bit more grace.
Yeah.
But this was definitely, I was really proud of her in this moment, but really frustrated when she goes back to Lee in the future.
Yep.
But I
for
like
sure.
the intent. I like that they had an intent. They're like, we're recognizing this is for all of her street fighting, she's still very sheltered as to the world that she herself knows. And she's only 23. She does. I mean, it's easy to fall back into, Kelly, as you said, unhealthy patterns about somebody who has already emotionally tangled themselves in your life. And it's really hard for you to unwind in it. You find a safety in what you know in a world when especially you're being thrust into a world you don't know. So you just cling to what is familiar.
Yeah. And especially now moving forward, Killian is the only person from home that she has in this place. So I think it's an easy, well, of course she's going to fall back to him because he is comfort from home. She thinks he's she's remembering the guy that she thought he was for the past year when she's in this fully new, very scary place. So I get it. But yeah, I mean, I wanted her to make different decisions, but I think I was like, yeah, I've probably made worse decisions in my life. So I get it.
Yeah. But speaking of her making decisions about certain people, she has certainly made a decision on her perception of Stark. Because there was an interesting exchange that happened next. The king is checking everybody out. And Lindsey, you pointed out, it's weird feeling. We're getting this ick factor.
Major ick.
Yeah.
But did you guys notice how she doesn't recognize this, Meryn doesn't, but Stark saves her in this moment. Killian touches her hand. The king is about to zero in on her, and Stark diverts his attention. She's like, oh, you diverted the attention so that we could go slaughter each other in the trials. And it's like, no, you were his focus. He got his focus off of you. It was a kindness, but she has her mind made up about him, and it's not changing anytime soon.
Yeah. She was very stubbornly against him in this moment, which I get too, because I think I knew once we met Stark that he was probably going to be endgame. But the whole time I was like, is he going to be? I kind of hate him, but I love him, but I hate him. It was such an enemies to lovers. And I kind of loved that because I did not understand I obviously couldn't understand why he was doing what he was doing. And I think I read it a lot like she did. So I was like, oh my, like he sucks, but like he's hot. And like, this is obviously going to happen.
I think I've learned that one of my least favorite tropes is the FMC not realizing when the MMC is trying to help her. Like, she's against it. Like, I've gone through a similar books before, and every time I feel like I'm just screaming to these females, like, let people pay attention.
Right.
Let people help you. Pay attention. Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
Like, open up your eyes.
Yeah.
They need a Lindsey in their lives to help them.
Yeah. Like, bitch, he's trying to help you. Give him a little bit more.
Recognize.
You better.
I'm right here.
But I love Lindsey's explanation that she provided us. Because I was annoyed at Stark. Because I'm like, I'm sorry, we get 400 pages of you grunting. And then she's like, no, Katharine. He's withholding his sexual urges towards her. He's wanting to tell her things, but the curse won't let him. So it's like...
Yeah.
And
literally.
ever since then, all of his scowls, all of his grunting, I'm like, I see all of that in a new light now.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, yep. For sure. It makes so much more sense at the end. I will say too, so I've reread these chapters the last 2 days before we recorded. And I think when we first recorded episode 1, I was not annoyed really about the bond between her and Anassa. And I got annoyed rereading it at
Thank
her.
God.
Yeah, I was like, let her...
Wait, when you say her, do you mean Meryn or Anassa?
Meryn. I mean Meryn.
Okay, Meryn. Okay.
Yeah, I mean Meryn. I think because she was like, I don't want to bond with you. Leave me alone. She was kind of a bitch to her from the beginning. She tried to help her. She shut her out. So then Anassa was like, frig you. And then like at one point she like shut down the bond and was like, I don't need your help. Like, okay, child.
Wait,
like, so
you only got that on your second read?
So I think I was more neutral about it on my first read. I thought that they both were in the wrong and I understood them both. I was like, oh, I could see that. I could see that. This time I was more leaning towards I understand Anassa more than I understand where Meryn's coming from. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know how many times I wrote in my book, girl, listen to your wolf.
Siri, like, come on.
Yeah.
To be
Come
fair,
on. You know nothing.
There were equal times where I was like, Anassa, you're hundreds of years old. You have to use all of your wisdom and bridge this gap for a 23-year-old girl. Like, Anassa was equally at points stubborn. Like, she breaks down a wall, Anassa puts the wall back up. And it's like, see, you're not fostering the bond and you are the mature one in this relationship. So I honestly, I was at one point, she calls her like a stubborn wench. And I'm like, bitch, both of you are. Y'all are really driving me crazy.
I feel like Anassa's most of the time wasn't out of stubbornness, though. It was out of protection.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I read it the second time, too. And the curse put things in a whole new light for me.
Yeah.
I was like, I get why she couldn't do and say things. And like, yeah.
I agree with you on the curse. I think I would have liked it being more overt.
Yeah.
I could not do X because of Y, and giving me as the reader the explanation. A lot of it is implied, a lot I have to infer, and I wanted it to be more direct. I wanted things to seem more intentional on Anassa's part, because sometimes I felt like, which is fair, we get frustrated with people that are acting immature. But a lot of times I felt like I'm feeling Anassa's frustration, where it's like, you could have tried harder. Her visions, you could have fostered that without saying, like, at the very end, she's basically like, are you asking me something directly? She could have just fostered it in a more creative way earlier on to try to bridge this gap with this irrational 23-year-old. And I wanted her to do a bit more.
Yeah. But don't forget that we're also in Meryn's POV. So
that's true.
It's really hard to understand Anassa's.
What was her tone?
Right. Like, what was her tone? What were her motivations without being in her POV? All we get is Meryn, you know?
That's true.
And in Meryn's head, she was a bitch. She was cutting me out. She wasn't talking to me.
Right.
She was putting up a block.
Right.
So that's what we get.
You're right. Because in Meryn's head, she was interpreting all of Stark's scowls stupidly wrong. Right. So you're 100% right in that.
Right.
She's a bad assessor of intent.
And Anassa is going to need to put up the wall. Like, she can't know that she's mated to Stark's wolf either, because that's going to open up a whole other can of worms. So who knows what conversations and what things were going on to protect her that she couldn't hear because of X, Y, and Z reason. So I think I got it more the second time.
And don't forget, like, she really didn't trust Meryn because of her relationship with Killian. Like, she knows that Killian, she doesn't know that he's the big bad guy in there, but she doesn't trust him. So the last thing she's going to do is open up her mind to her brand new, ruthless, passionate 23-year-old Bond who's literally sleeping with the enemy.
Right. Literally. Who said straight out, I don't want a Bond. Yeah, I get that.
So,
I think that was basically our response to, we have a lot of feelings about Meryn.
Yes.
We were probably a lot of times frustrated by Meryn. And I think that was our diatribe about Meryn right there.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So the king decides to throw the Diren Blaed into the sky and control the wolves into absolute chaos, screaming, kill the weakest recruit.
Psychotic.
Psycho. And I, in this moment, was like, this has got to be massive foreshadowing in the fact that he is going to continue to wield the sword again in the future for just absolute nefarious purposes. Right?
100%.
Yep. He has no control. He doesn't care.
He ain't good.
No, he ain't good.
He ain't good.
And I only noticed this on the second read. And I very much appreciated this because it bothered me in the first read and it resolved those issues in the second. For the longest time, I was like, the wolves are not fighting, like, they're culling the pack in instances where he's not wielding the sword. And so in the second read, I paid a lot more attention. I'm like, actually, no. anytime they attack and call the pack is because he is wielding that sword.
Okay.
Interesting.
They might have made decisions ahead of time knowing the sword is going to be used, and they have to acknowledge the reality in which they exist. But it bothered me the first read, and I was glad in the second read. I'm like, oh no, actually every time they're forced into this, it's because of that blade.
Oh, good call out. I don't know that I realized that it was only then. That's good.
Yeah. Anassa starts protecting Meryn. Definitely a step in the right direction for them, but still kind of one of those moments that we talked about earlier of like kind of who's to blame for their lack of communication here, right? And then same thing, Meryn completely gets it wrong why Stark is staring at her again. So her quote is, "He wants me dead. He had the king initiate the spectacle so the wolves would cull me." Girl.
I know. She just was so convinced, you know?
So convinced. Like her obstinance once again is out in full force. She's thinking emotionally, not rationally. She's made up her mind about Stark and absolutely nothing will sway her.
Yeah.
Girl.
Yep. I know.
And it's the blinders she has on for him versus the manipulation she's allowing herself to go through with Lee. It's just like I wanted to pull my hair out. I was like, you need some best friends to set you straight.
I know. It was like the epitome of the devil you know versus a devil you don't know. Like she was just like, oh, well, but you know, she feels comfortable with him. She knows that something feels icky and she just stays comfortable instead of diving into Stark, which she should have done after that tattoo scene. We'll get to that.
We're not there yet.
Oh
not
my
there
God.
yet. But it's an interesting thing. And if Sable watches this episode, I would like them to maybe, was it their intent to present this type of manipulative, gaslighting, abusive relationship? Because I think we all at some point pick up on that is the feelings we are getting with her relationship with Killian. And did Killian just kind of evolve into that relationship? Was it very much planned out? I feel like it had to have been their intent behind his entire character.
For sure.
Character.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah,
well, there's no doubt because he is so planned and so manipulative of this entire situation that there's no way that the intent wasn't for him to be that way.
Yeah. But he thought that he was doing the right thing the whole time. Like he's one of those, like, he wasn't being evil and being like, yeah, I know that I'm evil. He thought that he was justified after all this. He's like the scariest kind of evil because he's like, no, like, don't you see that this is great? That's scary evil to me, you know? So right before this mayhem started, we know that Killian slipped her the note. Later on, she reads the note and it says, East Garden at midnight. Please, kitten. This is the first time when I reread it.
This was it?
This was it. On the second reread, I was like, ugh, kitten. I hated it. I hated it.
You got there.
I was like, got the ick. It took me the second time I read it.
We still got there.
It this early, but yep. He was basically, he's like, listen, I need to explain myself. Please come meet me. I also got this really annoying, like, groveling from him in this whole, in the note, in this whole scene. And it's not a look. Meryn, the scene of her reading this whole thing is she gets back to the rooms and all of the other Rawbounds are actually partying. And at first she's like, I do not get this. How could you be partying? This is insane based on what we just went through. But Isabel and Venna pointed out that different people handle stress in different ways. They're happy that they are alive and that they made it through this trial. And so, even though awful things happened, they made it another day. So I think it's like a sense of her starting to see a little bit from their perspective. This is what they're used to and they've grown up this way. And I can see that they'd be happy that it wasn't them that was eaten by their direwolf.
And then this is also the first time we hear about the wolves having mates. So quote here, this is a long one. Stay with me. Yeah, direwolves have mates. Or they do sometimes. Well, not that often, actually. But it's a thing that used to be more common. Wolves would have a mate bond with another wolf, and it would give them extra powers, like they could talk to each other even if they weren't in the same pack, and the riders would feel their heightened emotions. I'm not sure how it works, really, but when riders have sex, it can help their wolves figure out if they're mated or not. So, of course, everyone uses the trials to try to find their direwolf's mate. Cool, right?
Cool, right?
My note is ha ha ha, cool, right? Like, we do find out later, though, that this is all BS by the wolves. They know exactly who their mates are. It appears to be a lie just so that the writers can have an excuse to blow off steam. I also think that going into the next book, it is going to be Meryn's justification to ignore her feelings for Stark. I think she's going to say, oh, well, no, just we only feel these feelings towards each other because our wolves are bonded.
I agree.
I can see that being her major excuse.
Yes.
To judge feelings.
She's like, this is not me. This is them. I don't
this
feel
is the
this.
wolves. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I thought it was going to be the opposite, that she was going to use that as her get out of jail free card as to why she can
I like that.
do the things and feel no guilt about it.
She can Stark the Therion.
That needs to be a thing.
It is
we
now.
just made it a thing. I love that. And you know what? Thank you, wolves, for being like, you know what these rawbounds need with all this death? They need
let them get it out of their system.
Let them just, good for you. Thank you, wolves.
But it's almost like they're like little stupid children. Just go, whatever you need to do.
Just go for it. So this whole party happens. Meryn is like in her room, kind of going back and forth about what she should do. And she ends up deciding that she's going to go meet Killian. So she goes on the way to meet him.
Yeah.
She has a quote that I love. And I know that Kath has a reference here that I want you to talk about. So she says, quote, and the shadows move strangely as though alive. So Kath, what did you think here?
So I've noticed, and I noticed it in my first read, and I'm really paying attention in the second read, of she makes references to shadows throughout. And I kept wondering, whose shadows are they? Are they hers or are they somebody else's? And I want us to document as we're going along. And I've added a few in here because there's, I think, maybe 2 or 3 more references to shadows in just this next chunk of chapters every single time it happens, because I wasn't quite sure who they belonged to. I did get the impression at the end it was Meryn's shadows as part of like her innate queenly magic, right? And Killian ultimately siphons from it. But the same argument could be made that that could be potentially Killian's own blood magic in use instead. It's left, again, I haven't finished the reread for the second time. I'm kind of doing this reread slowly as part of our podcast. So when I get towards the end, maybe I'll have a little bit more clarity as to whose shadows they are. But I think as of at least where I sit now, there's definitely shadows. I think that it's more than just I'm noticing shadows on the wall. There's some magic at play. And the question is,
totally agree.
Is it hers or is it his blood magic?
I always thought it was hers, was my impression.
And that's what
I got.
Think
it's Stark at all? Following her and watching her?
No,
I got it was and that's hers. The reason I feel like it's hers, because most of the time when she sees him, she's by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the only reason I thought it could have been Killian is because it does show up a lot of times when she's in these like areas to go to Killian. So it's if maybe he hadn't spotted her already, knew she was coming to him, right? And then at the end, I think he does actually wield some of them against her. But that could have been just the siphoning, or could it have been the blood magic? So I think the clarity will come to us at the end as we're going through the podcast. But definitely need to pay attention to all these shadow references. They are a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of if it is her innate magic, it would make sense that they would appear for her when she's in really stressful situations. Like she's going to see the man that she thought was somebody else, who's now the crown prince, and she's freaking pissed at him. So I kind of like the idea of, I have this magic, I don't really know how to control it, and it's kind of I'm seeing it like kind of rear its head as I'm in these situations, that would be kind of cool.
But it also elevates her own status, right? Most of these people wield magic via their dire wolves, right? Humans don't have innate magic within them. I like the idea of this true queen having innate magic of her own that she is wielding in her own right. It kind of brings her a little bit more up to par with Anassa, as like they are equals in this. They are powerful females in their own rights, and it's not just one carrying the other.
So as you guys are talking about it, maybe that's our answer, that the reason why we don't know is because Meryn doesn't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, like how many
100%.
how many conversations have we had that this is Meryn's POV and her POV is very skewed, right, to what she has made up in her head. So I don't know. It secures to me, thinking about it in that sense, that these are Meryn shadows, but there's no explanation for them because Meryn doesn't have an explanation.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I needed the validation that I wasn't just having another unhinged theory.
No, I don't think so at all. I think you're completely right. I think
that.
they're magic in some way. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but I agree with that.
Yeah. And Killian, continues to plead with her. He says, my title has always defined me, but I didn't choose this life. I hid the truth of my identity so that you would get to know me, the real me, without the unbearable weight of the crown bearing down on both of us from the start. Aside from my job and the details about my parents, everything I've ever told you about myself has been true. But if you'd known I was the crown prince, you never would have given us the chance. Okay, I get it, but blow off.
Off with that bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, again, he hasn't done anything about the Nabbers. He's like, oh yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, well, you let my fucking little sister get kidnapped and you didn't tell me. Like, that would have been the moment for you to come clean, and you didn't come clean in that moment. I'm out.
And his whole explanation, he never justifies the reason why. A year has passed. You did not address it. You floated across that issue, did not address it. But here's one thing he did not do in his entire rehearsed speech. He never apologized.
Right.
And that, for me, signaled there was no genuine sorrow or emotion in anything he was giving her. It was rehearsed to manipulate.
And he's not sorry about it because it's all part of his plan to make her fall in love with him and make her say, okay, no, I'm going to do what he wants, and see for everything from his perspective, so that when the end comes, that she's like, oh yeah, Killian, I agree with you. This is the right way forward. It's all a manipulation, everything. I highlighted this quote that we have here today, literally today, when he says this, because the first time I read it, I was like, this is like a weird compliment to give her because I didn't know anything any better. But the second time I was like, oh my God, Kelly, obviously it's foreshadowing. He said, you're the most powerful woman in Nocturna, Meryn. You can bring this kingdom to its knees with just a word. And at the first time I read it, I was like, oh, wow, he's like really trying to like hype her up and make her feel like, oh, I love you. I love you. And like, I read it as he was saying that you're like, to me, you are this, but no, he was saying you're actually the most powerful woman in Nocturna. You have no clue.
Yeah.
Bleep, bleep, bleep. Dumb. I feel dumb now.
Foreshadowing all the way.
Yep. And then on her way back, she makes another reference to the shadows. The shadows move over my vision and enter me, expanding in my chest. And she is attacked and she kills a man. So these shadows were a warning to her, right? Like this was like her internal security system going off here. And this is also the moment where she cuts off her hair. The guy has her by her hair and she cuts it off in order to get away.
Which, by the way, finally explained for me the fan art I was seeing with her with short hair. And I was like, I'm really not getting the short hair vibe. In fact, it was described as long. What is happening here? And then this scene happens and I'm like, okay.
The way that she killed the guy was so brilliant. I was like, she cut off his hand and choked him with it. That is literally why I'm wearing red lipstick. I was like, I feel like this moment needs a red lip because she just was like, you know what? Eat this. And gave him his own hand.
It was so
then choked himself.
Then she brings it up to Stark later and is like, is it self-defense to choke someone to death with their own severed hand?
Damn, girl. Damn.
Yes, it is.
They do.
Still
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
still
deserved
self-defense.
it.
Yep.
Loved
Hilarious.
that quote. I love that
So
quote by
good.
Stark. It was so great.
And then we get our first tattoo scene. Okay. So, quote from Stark: "Most of you should know the meaning of the bonded tattoos, but for those of you who don't, so Meryn and Henry,
Yeah.
the tattoos on our arms and torsos count siphon kills. The ones on our necks memorialize our bonded comrades that we've killed in training. Why do we get the tattoos? Because unlike the siphons, the bonded cherish life. We get tattoos to remember the steep cost of war."
And
And Meryn,
tattoos.
you're getting one right now.
Yep.
And then what does he do, ladies?
Seals it with a lick.
Oh
It's
my
so
God. I don't
it's
give it.
so wolfy.
Yup.
It's so wolfy.
Yep.
And I
It's so
remember the
everything.
first time it happened being like,
Knock me over with a feather.
Yep. It was a really great scene. There's some really gorgeous artwork that Sable shared from this scene. It's like my favorite thing ever. It's gorgeous, but also I love this scene too because right before he gives her the tattoo, when he's explaining the reason, like the meaning for the tattoos, to me this was the first time that Meryn got a little bit of her. Oh, I was really wrong about that. Like, I don't know that she.
Yes.
Well, she kind of did. She was like, oh, because you're all awful and you're celebrating these deaths
No.
or whatever. And it's like, no, because we actually value this. And it was kind of her getting a step back, like, oh shit, I was wrong about that. And I liked that she had that moment and then
Yes.
got the tattoo and was like, and
She
now
got a smack
you're
on her
licked.
hand from teacher.
Exactly.
And then
Yes,
she got
that's what
a
it
lick
felt
on her
like.
neck from the same teacher. And can we talk
So
about
good.
how we love this scene? Every sex scene we've seen so far, ick, hate, disgusting, move on, please. But one lick from Stark up a neck on a tattoo, and we're like,
Mhm.
that's what we're here for, guys.
Mhm.
yep,
Yep.
Immediately, yes.
yep,
Immediately, yes. And I know, Kelly, what you're actually thinking, and 100% agree. We don't need to say it out loud. It can be our secret.
Yep. Immediately, yes.
And then Meryn is given a private room to protect her from the threats of killing her. We, of course, are meant to assume that it came from Killian, and Killian later doesn't deny that he gave her the room. In fact, he takes credit for it, dick. But we do find out later that it was actually Stark.
Totally called that one.
Did you?
Really?
Second it happened, I was like, that bitch did not give her that room. Stark did it. There's no way Edith is listening to fucking Prince Killian. Stark gave that order.
Love it. I did not catch that.
Me neither. I love it.
I love the side characters in this book. There are a lot of great side characters, and I see this budding side character relationship between Isabel and Thomason, and I love. They have fantastic banter. They like hate each other. Isabel hates him. And he's got this almost swagger like another character from another podcast that we've recently gone over. I love Thomason, and I love how willing to help Meryn he is. And I am hoping that these two, their relationship, their bickering continues into later books. And I also hope that they kind of find HEA themselves in future books, because it's like, this is like the side romance that I'm on board for. I want those two to succeed.
So Periel, the Strategos beauty queen, tells her that her wolf has found a mate in Jonah's wolf. Frickin', I was like, of course. My eyes rolled so far in the back of my head when they said that. Like calls to like. These two are the frickin' worst. And that was great. And then she attacks Meryn at breakfast. It's like, who does this bitch think she is?
Obviously on Jonah's command, right?
Oh.
Or like to make him happy.
For sure. And so she attacks Meryn at breakfast, which is like a whole thing. Then Meryn goes off to wolf communication class, and we learn a lot. So we find out here that the connection between the rider and their wolf works by linking together thoughts and emotions, and that the most powerful direwolves can actually see through their rider's eyes, which is very cool. But that is a very rare skill, and it requires an enormously strong bond, which obviously at this point Meryn and Anassa do not have this enormously strong bond. Let's be real about life. But for the rest of the bonded, it's just an unending exchange of thoughts and emotions, which I kind of love. It would get so overwhelming all the time to just like have not only them thinking in your head, but like everything that they feel. I can't even.
Could you imagine if Rigatoni's thoughts were then thrust into your head?
No. The emotions, he would just be happy all the time. Happy. Maybe I would like that. I would need that. That's like your antidepressant, just bonding with rigatoni. And we also learned that eventually it will be a selective bond and you won't be able to hear everything all the time. So you do get better at controlling those thoughts. You'll get better at being able to calm the noise, which is what I would need if it were me. If, I was this badass who survived the bonding trials and bonded with a really cool direwolf, I'd be like, can we eventually just shut the fuck up for a minute? So I'm glad to know that when I do this one day,
Kelly is pissing off the dog, basically. Could you shut the fuck up, dog?
Could you shut the fuck up for a second, dog? Listen, dog, I just need my own thoughts, dog. I love you, but let me breathe. Let me think for a second.
So I thought it was really kind of interesting how it's like Meryn she's already blocking Anassa. Like she's not getting this diatribe of thoughts and she is actively blocking her back. It's not just Anassa putting up this iron wall. Meryn is also putting up that same iron wall. And I was like, okay, so Meryn has apparently mastered that. Their problem is not communicating. Their problem is they're both stubborn wenches and they refuse to communicate with each other. That is their problem. But I was like, why is she somehow, without any Direwolf 101 training classes, why is she able to do this so easily?
No, it's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
It seemed so easy. And I'm like, is it because she's a queen? She has just these innate abilities in and of herself that others wouldn't. But it was like, she never went through, I have a direwolf that won't shut up and I cannot block her. It was, no, I'm going to block you. I'm just going to block you. Immediate.
Yeah. I never thought about that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She threw it up and was like, bye.
Yeah. Several times to the point where Anassa got pissed even more at her because she kept doing it.
And then they go into Leader Aldrich calls Meryn and Henry into what I'm calling Wolf 101 class, because I literally I think it was the start of this chapter, like the end of the last chapter before this, wrote in my book, like, I feel like we're missing a Wolf 101 class here. But Sable answered this for us. I'm going to read you her answer because they listened to our episode 1 and then responded to us with this. I think one of you said this, but the truth is that Meryn is just not that inquisitive as a person. She's had tunnel vision on her responsibilities for most of her life, that this is a character trait that she has never learned. She cares about her family and surviving their brutal world as commoners, and that's about it. And once she's thrown into the bonded world, all she's really thinking about is her sister. She spends so much of the book resenting her bond with Anassa and trying to get out of it that it doesn't even occur to her that she should be questioning it more. The moral: stay in school, kids, where they will teach you how to foster curiosity. And these things aren't being taught to the entire group because it's information that the rest of the Rawbounds already know. And then, she says, why didn't Aldrich teach them? Maybe Henry asked about this and Aldrich did tell them and Meryn wasn't paying attention. She's not a great student.
I love that.
Which is so true.
It's a good point.
Lindsey, you kept saying this whole time, like, why is she not taking notes?
I love that. I freaking love that answer. And this is the perfect answer to me of when we question things in a book and the author knows that as a reader, we're going to be questioning it and is absolutely intentional in their actions and true to their characters. It is absolutely beautiful because she's right. And as soon as I read that answer from Sable, I was like, she's right. Meryn isn't a great student. Meryn wouldn't be questioning it. It makes sense that we haven't been given a Wolves 101 class because everybody else has grown up knowing all of these things about the wolves.
Yeah. And Meryn didn't join the army to bond and go to school about how to bond with a direwolf. She went into the army to go immediately fight at the front and find her sister. So she doesn't care about being in school. It makes so much sense.
I love that they justified that. It's like, it's okay to be frustrated. We wrote it so you would be.
You're going to feel some stuff in this book.
It's intentional, guys. Trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So a couple of more things that we learned from Wolf 101 class, okay? Above all of the 4 packs is the Sovereign Alpha, who at this time is Sigrid Therion, who happens to be Stark's mother.
Good name.
She can communicate with all of the wolves, the Alpha can, and the Therions have been the Alphas, quote, the Crown's sworn protectors as long as anyone can remember. Interesting.
I literally had a theory. I was like, Anassa's the queen. She was, for whatever way, taken over by the current royal family. Stark's family is the support protectors, and that's going to be restored through this whole thing. Like, I immediately, when the Sovereign Alpha and her family's connection to the royal family was explained, I was like, okay, I know Anassa herself is the queen. I don't know.
Because you looked it up, you big cheetah face.
No, I ruined the whole ending by looking up what Anassa means. And honestly, I envy you, Kelly, that you didn't. Because then right here, I'm basically like, oh,
Right.
okay, I get how this is all going to play out.
I was like, oh, okay.
And but what I wanted to bring up is I was so frustrated with myself. I'm like, why can't you just enjoy a book and let it happen as it happens?
It's your way of enjoying it, though. You like to research. You like to figure it out. It's like a puzzle to you. So let yourself enjoy it the way that you want to enjoy it.
I know, but
I'm not yucking your yum. I'm just saying sometimes I'm too stupid to do this stuff in the book. There are sometimes when I sit there and I will annotate and I will research and I will be like, okay, and this connects to this. And I'm that meme of the guy who's like all the theories. And then sometimes that I'm like,
but sometimes
this is fun.
Nice. It would be nice to just organically enjoy a book and the reveal happens at the very end and you predict nothing.
I hope you do that with one of the next books that we're going to cover in our one episode
I do too.
per book. There's a book, Phantasma specifically. I want you to just go in and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's a fun ride.
I have made an actual point from this. I'm not looking up name meanings. It just screws up everything. Not if I'm trying to enjoy, like, especially these one-off books that we're going to do. I want to enjoy them. I'm not looking anything up. I'm just going to enjoy them. I want to organically let the plot reveal itself and stop guessing everything all the time, because it's like sometimes you just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And I ruin the fun.
That's really funny. I think it's interesting here that we found out that the king is not bonded to a wolf. I do remember my spidey senses tingling at this point because I was like, that's weird to me, because if he can wield the Diren Blaed, if he can control all the wolves in this way, if he rules over bonded city and all these bondeds, it was weird to me that he didn't bond to a wolf. And I didn't really get that whole, here's why we have to do it. So we get the quote and it says, the king's role is to ensure that the commoners he reigns over always have an equal balance of power with the bonded and the direwolves. That rang bullshit to me. So while Sigrid is the highest in power for the bonded, we ultimately all answer to the king. Yeah, I was like, red flags are going up. At this point, I was like, something is fishy. I didn't figure it out, but I was like, that doesn't feel right.
It screams that you are a family that's not supposed to be in power.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Like you do not belong there.
And then we learn more about pack hierarchy. So there's one alpha leading each pack, followed by their betas who handle day-to-day operation, and then the gammas who handle all other leadership tasks. The other interesting thing here is that a bond cannot be severed once it is formed. The rider and the wolf will both die.
Yeah.
This is one of the questions we asked Sable, was that we were itching for more information about the wolves and their history. And her response was, sorry, wait until book 2. It would contain more spoilers.
Yeah. So we're going to get more, which is what we all wanted, right? We're like, are we going to learn more? Or are they just going to gloss over it? And so confirmed, we will know more, which is nice. But I know it's like,
I know. I want so much more information about this.
So we find the wolves can also speak through their mating bonds across pack lines. There's no limitation simply because they happen to be in different packs. And we find out that Sovereign Alpha sent Stark here from the front line. And given she knows her family's history with the true royal family, she knows that the true queen has bonded a direwolf. So it's like hindsight is so much with this second read, because I'm like, she sent Stark here intentionally.
Yeah.
She was going to have
in my
somebody.
second read, I was like,
Yep. Gotta send her. Because it's so true. Like, nobody else has an alpha there. It's all betas
Yes.
and gammas. So why would an alpha be sent? And it makes so much sense now that we know.
So much more sense. And honestly,
Mhm.
it's kind of interesting to the fact that his family retained their hierarchy after the fact. I mean, I know that the blood magic itself didn't allow them to speak of the previous true royal family, but it's kind of interesting they allowed them to stay in power. It's like,
That's true.
you know, it's like,
are you thinking like, why didn't the king's family bring an ally along with him?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, replace them. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
If you have a family, and maybe it was their own hubris, you know, you're loyal to the royal family. I am the royal family now. You are loyal to me. And then just was like, that's fine. That's it.
Yeah.
I actually think it speaks more to the wolves' power than anything. Like the reason that they're still there has to do with the wolves and the control that the wolves have.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
Yeah,
you can't
true,
really discount them.
Right.
Yeah, the wolves bond with who they're going to bond with. And we know from later on that it's not the human that gets chosen to be the alpha, really. It's the wolf first that gets chosen. And then because they're in a pair, like she becomes alpha because Anassa becomes alpha. And it's like their pair together.
But doesn't Anassa say, no, it's both of us?
Yeah, but I thought the wolves make the decision.
The wolves made the decision, but they didn't decide on Anassa. They decided on Meryn and Anassa.
Them together. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not like the humans say, oh, these two are going to be the ones and they make that decision. The wolves ultimately make the decision.
Yes.
Yeah, because the Sovereign Alpha questions her. When Meryn questions it, the Sovereign Alpha is like, oh, so you're questioning the wolves?
Yes. Yes. It's like, don't do that.
Go sit down.
Yes.
So why do we think that mated wolves have become rare in recent years? Because they make a really big point to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think they are rare? Or do we think it's like Anassa not saying she's mated to Stark's wolf? They're lying. They're keeping it secret now. They don't want them to realize all the wolves are so much more connected than anybody ultimately realizes. It's like a self-preservation, like a pack preservation mechanism to just lie. I know the bondings are less, but maybe they're just lying about the matings, all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a better explanation, so...
I kind of get the sense that like...
So you're right by default.
Yeah. I kind of get the sense that they don't actually know who to trust anymore. I kind of... The fact that they...
Like the wolves
like don't know who to trust anymore. And so I almost wonder if they're closing themselves off to mating bonds in general, because clearly there are people who, you know, see Meryn's family as the true heirs. There are probably a lot of bonded who are loyal to King Cyril and his family. And so I wonder if there has something to do with like, what we don't want to be mated to someone else. And what if, you know, we are on opposite ends of this war essentially. And so I'm wondering if it's the wolves were like preserving their own relationships to be like, we can't take these risks. Like that's the only thing that I can think of outside of them lying potentially. I just feel like a lie would be so hard because I mean, we see at the end how strong those pulls and those emotions between Stark and Meryn are. So I'm like, how would people hide that? But it also could be maybe it's that powerful because Stark and Meryn are just that powerful, you know? So
True.
I don't know.
Oh,
I think I could go either way.
Like their tension
But I think that those...
Mm-hmm.
I think that those are almost the same argument in a sense. Like you're both thinking that they're hiding them, right? Like
hiding
from
or
the
denying.
humans.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I'm saying they're not even letting the bond happen to begin with. And I like not even identifying who their mate is. Like, I feel like they're shutting it down immediately.
Like we're not even getting out of the gate.
Not even.
Yeah, but like once you see how powerful of a bond that is, once you see it between, like you see the feelings between Anassa and Kratos, I feel like there's no way that they could be not doing that on purpose. But I do agree that they might not be telling people. Because clearly Anassa can keep it.
Yeah.
from Meryn.
Maybe that's why they're all doing it all the time in the common room. Maybe they're feeling the bonds of their wolves and are
denied
like, gotta
bond.
get it on. Yeah. Maybe.
It's
I
very
like that
fourth
theory.
wing coded.
It is very fourth wing coded, yeah.
And then Henry tells Meryn that he does not know what a nabber is. My hackles in this moment really got raised as to what the nabbers were actually up to. I think I wrote a note in my book of like, are they looking for someone in particular?
Your note
okay.
was more eloquent than mine, which was just like, conspiracy. What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, what do you mean nobody else knows what this is? Why is
'Cause
it
he
only
comes-
happening where she lives?
He's the one that comes from a frontline, like, border town, right?
Yeah, he's a
That's where
commoner. Yeah.
No, but like his town he is from the front line, isn't he?
I don't remember that.
I just remember it's too far away that when they have the day off, he can't go there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's closer
Yeah.
to the siphon. So you would think if nabbers were prevalent in every city, it would have been prevalent in his city. And it's like,
not the royal city. You wouldn't steal from the city that had a palace unless you were looking for someone in particular.
Yeah, and like to skip over all those other cities. I think Meryn talks about that. Like, wait a minute, why are they coming all the way out here to nab people when there's literal commoner towns closer? So I feel like now I'm remembering that conversation.
Yeah. And maybe, I mean, if you think about it, maybe they do want Saela in particular. I mean, she has the same blood running through her veins as Meryn does. She is also royal. It seems to me like that blood would be twice as sweet.
True. It's true.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it does beg the question then, why would it have taken so long for them to come and nab her? Like, why would they have taken other children? Is it just a cover up? But
right. Yeah, it's true.
Or is
so many
it
questions
like just
about
part
that.
of his like end game plan, right? Like he's like,
Yeah.
I have to get this relationship with her. I have to eliminate the sister, and it's like all just these calculated little check boxes.
So that so he
steps.
knows, I know you're going to go to the army and you're going to fight for her. Like, we're going to build this whole thing up. Because if it was just her sister that was taken immediately, it's going to be a lot more obvious that it was against her family. That I like that theory.
See, in my mind, I thought that Killian had actually been holding his dad back from going to get Saela. Like, I imagined some off-page conversations of like, no, if you go get her, like, they're going to know something's happening. It's going to raise their hackles. You've got to wait. And then finally, like, he couldn't wait any longer. He wanted her.
Yeah. I like that. I definitely think that it was planned around the bonding trials too. I bet you he was like, oh, you're going to do a bonding trial? Okay. Now you can go.
But
right.
no,
or else wait 4 more months or whenever the next one is going to be. Yeah.
I like that thought, Lindsey, because your thought kind of puts into perspective who's really driving this next phase of this show. It seems like the king is being phased out and Killian is kind of like taking over from here on out. And so I kind of like how you bringing that up. It's like Killian's like, no, we need to be a lot more strategic. Like sit down, old man. I'm going to take over and manipulate this whole thing.
Yeah. And do we know when the siphon, like the powerful siphon, transitioned from being
it's in the
King
book.
Cyril?
It's in the book.
No, yeah. It's the day of graduation. The morning
Oh,
of their
okay. So it's
graduation.
it hasn't changed yet.
He's
Okay.
No,
still
and it's
in
pretty
the
late.
king. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty late in the book.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's almost to the point where the siphon recognizes there's even this transition of power itself. Like
He does for sure. He says, get me out of the king, put me in Killian because the king's going to die soon. They say, they straight up say it. Mm-hmm. Because they know that Killian and Meryn are talking about killing the king. And so the siphon wants out of the king's body.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Ooh.
Who doggy?
Okay. Who doggy?
Sorry.
So there's a lot of training scenes that happen in the next, few pages and few chapters. And during training, Stark is constantly super, super tough on her, which continues to make her feel like he hates her. He just wants her dead. He wants to make her look bad, all the things. And we're like, woe is me. But as a reader, Lindsey is like, girl, he's trying to make you better. He's like, pay attention. He's trying to help you, which I totally get. I was starting to like him around this part of the book. I was like, okay, maybe I can see there's something good is coming. And we also see that Anassa will not heal Meryn. Again, frustrating. And Stark yells at Anassa for Meryn. And what does Meryn do? She spat in his face. I was like, okay, fine.
Child.
Yes, it was very childish. It was very childish. This was a moment where I was like, I've been defending you, Meryn. Like, I've been saying, give her grace. She just needs to learn. And then she spits in his face.
I think I was just rage writing at that point. I was like, fucking brat. I saw you say she spits in her face, and I think I just wrote brat and just moved on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brat.
No, that's how it felt. That's absolutely how it felt.
Meryn goes back to her room and Killian is waiting for her there. So he dresses her wounds for her and tries to take care of her. Meryn straight up asks him if he is responsible for her private room, and he takes credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then continues to try to sweet talk her, saying, when I'm king, everything will change. I swear it. And if you give me a chance, I'd tell you more about it. And then this is the moment when he tells her that there is a hidden panel that connects their rooms through secret passages. So
hated this.
I know. Like, especially on a reread in hindsight, like you look back at this moment and you're like, I cannot believe, but I can, that he took credit for this.
Yeah. Right. What a
and
jerk.
Also, how convenient is it that the private room that Stark chose for her happens to have secret passages connected to the king?
He's probably so mad about that. He didn't realize.
But like, really, there's only one room in the whole place.
Or maybe they all do.
There?
Maybe they all do.
Oh, true. So that the king can have. I don't like it. I didn't put those things together. Which is why you believe that it was him, because why wouldn't he put her in a room that was then connected to his?
Right. Exactly.
Don't disagree with you, Kelly.
Does Stark not know that?
Why would he? He doesn't grow up in the castle.
I have so many questions. He knows so many things.
There.
But you got to think, like, how many times do they say over and over and over that the castle has secrets?
Yeah, true.
Right? True, castle is hiding things. This is just another one of those things.
He's meant to protect the family, not protect the palace. He doesn't know every room.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Oh my God.
What you are feeling is probably what Stark is feeling when he realized all that.
Idiot. He's probably
he's like, I literally gave them an excuse to sleep together.
Yeah.
And see each other.
Nope.
So she finally goes to her friends for help. And I love the friends' reaction. They're like, finally, bitch. Yes. We want to help you out. Yes, we will help you. So Isabel, Venna, and Thomason all decide to help her. And I love this. She has been so isolated for so much of her life. Like, she had her sister, yes, but she didn't have really a friend group. So I feel like before she's bonded with even her direwolf, I mean, she's bonded, but she's not really bonded. She's really bonding with this new friend group. And I like that. I like that we're getting true friendships in this book, not just romantic attachments.
It just shows like how much Lee really gaslit her too, because he's the one that said, like, don't trust them. Right. They're going to stab you in the back. And he really had convinced her of that, when in reality, she has really great people that are on her side and are willing to fend for her, you know?
And she wouldn't have made it up Mount Wolfsbane without them. And he had her believe that, like, no, you will die if you try to help or be helped by anybody. And it was a complete opposite.
And
such a good point.
What does a gaslighting, isolating, abusive partner try to do? Isolate you from a friend group, isolate you from your family. It's like,
yep. So you run back to them.
Yep.
Yep.
Textbook, Killian.
Yep.
And I didn't even see it.
So then the night before the voice trial, Meryn has a bad dream that it is her getting treated instead of her mom. And we see the crown, we hear the voice here.
The voice.
It's the first voice. Is it the queen's voice, like the true queen's voice? Is that who the voice is?
I have some thoughts on that. That I don't feel like we should
talk about. Yep.
Okay. We're gonna save who the voice is. Okay.
Yep.
I think
Okay.
we will get more of that as we go. And I think it will make sense to talk about it when we get more.
All right.
Let's
Noted. Write it down.
Tease everybody. Not fulfilling anything at this juncture, guys.
What
We're
a
moving
tease.
on.
Listen to more episodes.
Yay!
For Lindsey
Tune
to
in.
Theory Spiral.
That's going to be a clip.
Crazy.
We get to the voice trial, which is, quote, specifically designed to challenge our communication skills, and it's estimated an eighth of us won't survive this. That's a big amount of people.
That's a lot.
Those little
Yeah.
people.
Very exacting.
And that's right. And the arena, when they walk into the arena, is completely transformed into this maze, this obstacle course. And Meryn mounts Anassa's. They actually start to communicate a little.
Go
But it's
team.
really right. Like, okay, you talk to me, I'll talk to you a little bit. But it's really just enough that she's not going to fall off. They're not going to die. Bare minimum here, people. And they place third. And Meryn is understandably very excited about this because
die.
right, and like up until now, come on, their communication has not been their thing. So the fact that they're alive and they place third, I feel like I'd probably be feeling the same way as Meryn in this moment.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, I don't know if this is gonna happen.
Go team. Go.
Yeah, but then Beta Egith pulls Meryn into her office and is like, Meryn's all pumped that she placed third. And Egith's like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
She has
Don't
like
get too
a
excited
come
about
to
that.
Jesus conversation with her.
Yeah, and I do feel like this is a monumental conversation for Meryn and for her development. Like, we get a lot of information here from Egith, and I feel like it really puts Meryn into her place about
100%.
what her place is in the world now. Okay, so a couple of quotes here from Egith. I don't believe you've fully accepted any of this yet. I know your driving force for being here is to find your sister, but this is your life now. If you want to make it to the front lines, you need to accept it. You are bonded. This isn't temporary. You can't escape it. You are bound to Anassa for the rest of your life, however long that may be. And Meryn is. She's like, yeah. And then she continues, you seem married to this idea that you're an outsider, and you're using it as an excuse to hold yourself apart from the other rawbounds. But it's time to face facts, girl. You are not an outsider. You are one of them, Meryn, one of us. You've survived this long by being clever and tough, but you will continue to fail and eventually die if you don't accept that this is your life now. They treat you like an outsider because you act like one. They sense that you see yourself as one, and they behave accordingly, just as Anassa does. Why she's chosen to cooperate with you when you keep rejecting her, I don't know. Again, monumental conversations, right?
Yes.
More, you don't trust her at all, so how can you expect her to trust you? And more, I won't give you this advice again. Accept Anassa, accept this life, or you won't make it through the next challenge.
Yep. I loved this because she was not going to come to this on her own.
No,
and
she's not insightful, as Sable said.
We needed this moment to put it all out there and for her to be like, oh shit, okay, she's kind of right, because she was not going to get there on her own. And it's all the things that as readers we are thinking, come on, get over it. You're here now. You cannot change this, right? And so I loved it.
Amazing that
In your
it's like,
place.
sweetie, she knows all of these things about you and your own wolf looking from the outside.
Right. She can tell.
You haven't realized this yourself?
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, she's so blind to it. Oh, I needed it.
Either way, it changes. Yeah, it absolutely changes her and changes her perspective. I do, before we move on, before this scene happens, Meryn does get a little drunk at that night's party, and she tells the twins that the man who stomped on her heart is here in the castle.
Yes.
And it's just important to point this out because it will come into play later on, so I don't want to accidentally skip.
Yeah, that is very important.
And I
All
was
right.
actually a little afraid at this juncture of her saying that because I was wondering, I was like, what world are we in? Are we in the world where a commoner can marry a prince? Like, are we going to enter the dynamic of the king is against this for whatever reason? Like, how is this going to play out if people
Right.
find out
How are the
about
bonded going to
you?
react?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I wasn't sure how the story was going to go from there.
But I love Isabel and Venna for their reactions in this whole book. I just love them so much. Next class that we get insight into is history of war. So tons of new stuff that we get to learn, which again, we know that Meryn is an unreliable narrator. We are seeing this through her own point of view. So we're learning alongside of her. Thank God, because we know nothing. The siphons. I know nothing about this. We learn about the siphons. Quote, they're blood-sucking vampires who steal life force and energy to extend their own lives and make themselves more powerful. We also learn that there are no humans left in Siphon Country. And we definitely know now, thanks to Sable, that we will get more history about the siphons in the next book. So stay tuned for Furybound for that, which we're very excited about. We get a quote here, quote, they use blood magic to control our minds and weave illusions. I like the illusions call out. That had my brain going kind of crazy. Through their blood magic, siphons have achieved functional immortality and the ability to manipulate human perception. This is how they infiltrate our borders and defend against our bonded attacks. And the older a siphon is, the more powerful their abilities become. We don't even know half of what they're truly capable of as we interact primarily with their youngest soldiers. The more senior siphons are rarely part of their forward guard. I know. Yeah.
Were you guys kind of confused? Because I'm like, okay, what's a siphon? What's a vampire? Like, because the words are used interchangeably. And thankfully, Sable came to our rescue and was like, siphons, they are immortal. And the way most vampires are in media are immortal. They don't die of natural causes. They could theoretically live forever, but these guys can't be killed. And I was like, okay, that's a good level set because it's like vampire, siphon. What am I looking at here?
Well, the reason she told us that too is because remember back in episode 1, we had found an instance of someone saying that they were immortal and someone saying that they were mortal. So Sable said to us, no, they're immortal, like you said, in the way most vampires are. And again, it is Meryn being an unreliable narrator. She does not know enough about the world around her. And unfortunately, it causes us to get inaccurate information about the siphons.
Right.
But why would she know? They're only your mortal enemy.
That you know nothing about. But Lindsey, I have a question for you. In the next book, because we know Meryn is such an unreliable narrator, are you just going to be second guessing her the whole way through the book?
No, because at this point, if this bitch hasn't gotten her facts straight.
Yeah. Once she has this full bond with Anassa, like you better be asking some questions.
Alpha.
Yes.
You're
the queen.
Rightful queen. If you don't know your shit at this point, I'm out with you. Okay.
Completely agree, Lindsey.
Like,
yes.
If you have a wolf in your head at all time that's hundreds of years old and you can't get your facts straight about your mortal enemy, I'm out with you. I'll still read the books, but I will not be on Meryn's side.
Yeah. No, I need to see her being willing to learn and ask the questions. And like, she's not going to know everything right away, but I want to see her be like, okay, this is important. I should know these things.
We want her to be inquisitive, Sable.
Enough.
She's not inquisitive. She needs to learn to be inquisitive.
And like, I don't expect her to make like a personality 180.
No, but listen
do some work.
Do some work and listen to the hundreds of years old wolf inside your head.
Listen,
100%.
Ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Be curious.
So let's go back to this quote because this really gave me the feels, the question feels. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If siphons can use blood magic to control our minds and weave illusions, who's doing that to us? Like,
what do you mean?
There's got to be a character that is doing that, or else we would not learn this information. This wouldn't be planted, right? So there's got to be a character somewhere in this book that is either currently using blood magic and weaving illusions or eventually will use blood magic to control minds and weave a weave illusion.
I just took it as like they're the people they like encounter, like their siphon soldiers would do this, like on the front line to them, and they
Could
would
use it as part of their
like
weapon.
firsthand, and that's how they just learned about it organically.
Isn't the siphon that we meet at the end kind of doing this too?
100%.
Right? Like,
I think it's a little bit more ancient and powerful than that. Like, this is any siphon can do it.
Yeah.
They have the magic, but his is, I think, a bigger power.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's a very big question for book 2.
There's just no way we'd be given that information if it didn't come into play soon. And so it makes me wonder if we're already seeing it or if we need to look out for it in the future.
Like, is it a foreshadowing hint for us, essentially, as readers?
Yeah. Or hey, pay close attention. Because speaking of unreliable narrators, the things that you see might not be real.
That's a good point. Because even if we don't see it now, it could be something that comes up in book 2 when she's actually facing off against them, right?
Yeah. Maybe something like Saela is an illusion. Maybe she's not.
Oh my God. That would be a plot
I don't know.
twist.
I don't know that I believe in that. I'm just throwing that out. But if you think
what
about
it could be,
right, like if Killian wants to use her and he knows that the only way to control Meryn would be through Saela, the best possible thing would be to make Saela seem like a siphon when maybe she's not. Maybe it's illusion.
Maybe it's not even really Saela. Can they illusion who people are?
Maybe this is all a dream.
Maybe this whole book is a dream and we wake up at the end and it's like, oh, mom's here. Like,
by the way,
go fight somebody.
That trope is up there with miscommunication. Do not ever let us wake up in a dream and none of this happened. I will throw everything across the room.
That's really funny.
Yeah. How do we win this war? Oh, let's just fully invade Astriona and eliminate every last one of them. That should be easy, right?
Totally fun. Done. Let's do it.
That from you, Liz.
Thursday at 5. How are you busy?
No big deal.
Easy peasy.
Just do it. Finally, people, Meryn is realizing that the only way she's going to get through any of this is with Anassa by her side. And so she actually goes to visit her, right? I know. It's like, thank God. I think Edith finally got through to her, all these things. She's like, all right, maybe I should kind of wake up and take this seriously, right?
Do you want to be my friend, Anassa?
I know. I'm sorry.
Let's do this.
I realize I've been not too nice to you.
I know.
Time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And so, quote, her voice fills my head with startling clarity, deep and rich as aged wine, carrying the weight of centuries.
That's
I love
impactful.
that, right? She has the weight of centuries. She's been alive for a long time.
Yeah.
Katharine, you have a note here.
I would like you guys to play devil's advocate here. Because
Okay.
I was feeling a lot of feelings here, and I want you guys to challenge my feelings because maybe I'm about
to because I'm reading it.
I'm not giving enough credit, but I was very, very frustrated with equally both of them at this point.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because I was thinking in my head all of the manipulations that Killian is employing on Meryn and seeing how she's just constantly falling on the sword, that I didn't like this cycle that she's finding herself in. She's taking all the blame. Anassa is accepting none of the blame for the fact that their bond is in tatters at this point. And I find it problematic because she does it with Killian. She never demands an apology. She thinks, is it me pushing him away? She's not holding people accountable for their own choices, their own responsibilities, their actions. Like she's saying, what you do holds no weight, and I alone should atone. And I think that is a very problematic thing for her. You shouldn't have to be the victim that apologizes to your abuser, because I see that with her doing that with Killian. So the fact that she just fell on the sword here with Anassa just really rubbed me the wrong way, because I feel like she's following unhealthy cycles in all of her day-to-day life. And maybe I'm just extrapolating things too much and not giving enough credit, but that's how I was very much reeling at this point.
Yeah.
And I was like, people are just giving her so much shit and not taking accountability for their own actions. Like, let's not shit on Meryn Day.
You're talking about Meryn.
Yeah, like Meryn is falling on the sword saying, I'm apologizing. I'm doing this. And I'm like, you know what? Anassa holds some responsibility.
I don't think so at all. I think you're right with Killian. She absolutely was doing that with Killian. But I think that you can be a victim in some situations and be absolutely fucking wrong in other situations. And I think that here she's wrong because she did not want the bond. She treated Anassa like shit. She blocked her out. If it were me after that many times, I'd be like, fuck you. Like, you cut me out.
I don't so much to offer you.
Right.
Yeah, like I have so much to offer you and you're not taking any of it.
Yeah, I have no, and not like F you, I'm going to come after you, but like I have nothing, I don't have time for you. There's so much shit that you don't even understand because you refuse to open yourself up to me. And I can't physically can't tell you things. 2, you're not even attempting. I don't have time for this. So I don't feel like that with Anassa. But I agree with you she does that too much with Killian, 100%. She's like, oh, it was all me. Like, and she throws it like, oh, I understand how he feels. Oh, he must have this, he must have that. Totally agree. But when you're wrong, you're wrong. And I think she was wrong in this situation.
That's fair. Yeah, I think I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
For me in this moment, I don't think I cared. I was just like, oh, great. You're finally communicating with each other. Like it was such a breakthrough that I didn't even bother to place blame on either one of them. I was just so happy that they were finally talking to each other. Yeah, that I didn't think anymore into it. You know what I mean?
Anassa was like, okay, finally you're here. Let's talk. And that's too. The fact that she was like, yeah, okay, let's talk. Just move on. And
then she feels it. Mm-hmm. She feels an incredible sense of rightness unravels inside my chest. So it is right. It is how it's supposed to be, right? Like, Meryn does wonder if Anassa hadn't fully given her the bond yet because she was trying to protect her, help her ease into it. I think that there is definitely some truth to that. Obviously, we know it's a little more than that as well, but I think that there's definitely something there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the next day in training, quote, I can tell the moment my fighting instincts aligned with Anassa's battle experience, clicking together like gears in a machine. So there's such a reason that they're bonded. Like, you finally see it, you know?
And I loved this explanation because how the mind communicates in different fantasy stories can be vastly different. And I loved the explanation we were given about how their mind communication works. It's like the command comes as a wordless thought, a vague intuition, but my mind translates it easily. And that helped me to understand. It's like they're not just talking person to person. They are sometimes, but sometimes it's simply like I'm thinking something and your brain is just translating that into action. And
you're so in tuned.
Yes, I liked that explanation. It helped me understand how their mind communication works. It was good use by the author to kind of explain that to us.
Yeah, I like that too because I don't think I thought that deep into it until you said that now. And because if you think about it, if they have to speak mind to mind, there's a delay in communication. But if I instinctually know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you want to do, if our brain is one, we're making decisions and we're moving as a team. And I do really love that. So thank you for bringing that up because I didn't think that deeply about that. I was like, oh, yay, bond.
Welcome.
Everyone's happy.
Talking.
We're finally talking.
And then we see more of Lindsey's least favorite trope here. Stark is pushing her so hard. And I made a note that is still so shocking to me that Meryn doesn't see that he is pushing her to rise. I think it especially happened for me in this scene that it was really obvious that he wasn't being mean to her, that he was pushing her. And it's really starting to bother me at this point.
Yeah. So I totally agree. This scene, it feels different. And so the fact that she's not starting to be like, oh, wait a minute. I even saw it a lot in this scene. And that's not a trope that bothers me as much. It bothers me a little bit, but it's like more of like a small frustration. And even in my head, I was like, come on, listen to him. Like, he's the alpha. He knows what he's doing.
He's the alpha and he knows he's been on Anassa's side. His wolf is mated with Anassa. They can speak to each other. So he literally knows this entire time. He also has a direct line of communication to Anassa.
Right.
And it just bugs the crap out of me that Meryn couldn't see that.
Right. Like she doesn't know that, but come on. Like he's clearly acting in her best interest. And she's
I mean, I'll even defend Meryn here. It's fine for her not to realize that her wolf can talk to Stark. Like, I'm fine with her not realizing that at this
No,
juncture.
of course. Yeah, of course. Like, we're not saying that, but like his actions and the way that he pushes her is so obvious that
I'll give you that one. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Try harder, do better.
Right. Open your mind. You've already made the decision that like, okay, I really should take this seriously. I'm going to open my bond with Anassa. Like this whole Beta Aegith, like really threw the hammer down and like, I'm taking it seriously. Let's let the guard down in other places of your life too.
But she doesn't. Not yet.
She does not yet.
Nope, because she just goes right back to Killian. She goes back to her room and finds a note from Killian saying that he has an update on the Nabbers. There's a lot. This is a big scene here.
It sure is. Yep.
So
she says, all I wanted was to seek him out, mend what was broken between us. Okay, so look.
I don't know that we have to talk about it anymore.
I'm
I
done.
have to talk about our thoughts. I feel like we've exhausted.
I know.
We
Can
hate
I say
it.
the last thing?
Yeah.
The last thing.
Yeah.
She's fallen victim to the classic blunders, right? Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never go against a Sicilian. Death is on the line, and never take back a lying piece of shit boyfriend who gaslights you and never apologizes.
What about a Sicilian?
What are you talking about?
It's there's the
I literally
Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride.
Oh.
The Princess Bride.
I was like,
what?
I did not catch that at all. I was lost.
My God.
Brain all
Never trust a Sicilian. I was like, what are you talking about?
I was not there.
Well, I said the word blunder and
I got
my
there
brain
eventually, but I was not expecting you to go there.
Well, I
That's
said
really
the word
funny.
blunder,
I
and
was
then my
like-
brain just was on autopilot from then on out.
I was like, what do blenders have to do with this?
My brain happens.
She's gonna make
sometimes.
a protein shake to get through the day.
I had no clue. I was not on that one.
You don't know about the RUSs? Rodents of unusual
that's
size?
really funny. Oh my God. I mean, I know them well. That's
Like
Wesley
I
was
know
named
them,
after
but
this,
I did not put it together when you said blenders, and I really got thrown off.
Blunders.
Blunders.
No, I know that now, but it
You
was
know that
blenders. And then
now I
it
know
was, I was not, I didn't understand. Okay.
Okay. Okay, very nice. So we get we do get another reference to shadows. Quote, just like in the halls the night after presentation, the shadows seem to move with a will of their own. Interesting. And Meryn goes through the stone passage but gets lost, and she starts to hear voices saying it is like one of Mother's episodes. This is finally for Kelly when I'm like, whoa, what's happening here with the mom? Like
There's some more.
Like I didn't necessarily believe that like, oh, the mother's sick. Like I knew there was something more here. Yeah. I did not connect it to the castle. And now it's starting for me to be like, but I love this. It's like, yeah, your mother's not having episodes. Your mother is feeling the power of what is rightfully yours in all these situations. So, quote, heavy, dusty fabric collapses over me. A tapestry, ancient and faded, the whispers peak in a wild crescendo as the fabric slithers off me onto the floor. Where the tapestry hung is a huge, intricate image carved directly into the stones. A woman astride a massive wolf, her face serene. Her head is adorned in an intricate crown composed of two direwolves leaping toward each other. Dun, dun.
And then she goes on, quote, my hand trembles against the woman's crown, and the voice presses against my skull like a physical weight.
Mm-hmm.
So this, to me, when we were talking about, I didn't realize that this moment happened so quickly. I think that this proves that the voice that's talking to her is the queen.
Oh, this
yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think I thought this moment was a little
the next-
farther. I thought it was in
yeah,
our
yeah.
next episode, but it's the fact that she literally says the voices press against my skull like a physical weight. And if you think about it, like if her mother's been hearing those voices, and don't forget too that her mother talks about the twins and talks about this woman's kids, and we see later that the queen has children.
Yep.
So I think it's definitely that.
Queen. Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Which I also would take it a step further, that I also think that this queen and the faceless goddess are one person.
Completely agree
100%
with that. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I was
So
and it makes sense though, right? They're losing her to history. They're going to call her a goddess. And what a better way to erase somebody's image than to just make them a deity.
yeah.
Right.
Like
and,
she's
and cover them
important.
with the
Yeah, like she's important enough to the people that like the king, they even say like the king took away what they cared about, but she's important enough to them that she's still like in the background in their minds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what was the key of what he did to her? He completely erased her face.
Yeah.
The faceless goddess.
So
will
like
not-
just in case they see artwork of the queen or whatever, they won't ever put it together. But I think that they're all the same.
Yeah, totally agree.
That was a really good, in hindsight, way to erase somebody from history, if you're going to go about it. A very successful maneuver on their part in that regard.
Well, only for so long since.
Right.
Well, I mean, it took
Now
500
we're here.
It took 500 years though. I mean, it took a
right?
while.
We'll give you the 500.
Yeah, I guess you can keep the
Thank
500.
Thank you.
And then also in this moment, Anassa perks up. So this, I will say, was one of the moments that here I was like, why didn't Anassa try a little bit harder? Like, I know we've talked a lot about that, but this was one where I was like, okay, I feel like you could have said a little something more.
Yeah, maybe ask her like, "Oh, what are you seeing?" Or like, "Do you have any questions for me about this?" or something. I can totally see that.
Or just say, maybe they aren't delusions. Let's talk about them. Let's focus on them.
Or maybe Anassa tries to do that because Meryn passes out.
That's true.
So maybe she's about to
overwhelmed,
loses consciousness,
and can't hear her through the voices and what she thinks is delusions. That's a good point.
Again, we question Anassa, but at the end of the day, it's just from Meryn's POV, and Meryn passes out.
Anassa is looking at us being like, ladies, look what I got to deal with.
Yeah, no,
this is what I was given.
Okay.
Book 2 is going to be her perspective, and that's why it's fury bound, because she's furious at us from all the times that we were like, Anassa, what's up? And she's like, let me tell you this.
Furious at us.
I was trying, and she was obstinate.
Here are the receipts. Anassa's going to come with receipts in fury bound, and we're going to be like, oh,
I wouldn't
sorry.
doubt it. I feel like that's 100%. Pretty real, actually. Yep.
I think so too. So after she passes out, she wakes up in none other than frickin' Killian's room. And Killian gaslights her and says, hey, there was no statue. That's just an old servants' corridor. You didn't see anything.
Did he go looking for her?
He had
to have gone looking for her, right?
I feel like he did.
She took too long, and so he went.
I would assume.
Yes.
I would assume.
Because that would take a long time. Like, she was really lost. She was really out of the way between their two rooms.
Yeah.
But he knows the castle. He knows these passages.
Yeah,
that's why
true.
He knew their rooms connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Ugh. Love that Anassa does not trust him.
It made my own feelings justified.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to say, like, that is the moment where I was like, okay, it's more than just the mistrust of I lied to you about the fact that I was the crown prince. There is so much more there, because at this point, I trusted Anassa. I was like, we need to all just follow her lead because she is so much more. And I didn't know that her name meant queen yet, because Katharine hadn't told me that yet. But I was just like, no.
No, I'm not sorry. No. I'm glad I didn't
Don't
tell
be
you
sorry.
that. I'm glad you found out organically.
Yes, for sure. And so Meryn asks Anassa, what does this all mean? She's talking about her visions here. And we know from the end of the book that Anassa actually can't say anything directly, but she could have said, I think you should investigate, or I wish I could say this. Or even, are you commanding me to answer you? Like, lead the horse to the water a little bit in this moment, right? Like, that's the
Nudge,
frustration
nudge.
I know that you both were feeling.
Yeah, but the more that we talk about it and how it is from Meryn's point of view, like Meryn still isn't ready for that information at this point. She's still literally in Killian's bed. So
Yeah.
part of me does understand, like I said, kind of the more we think about it and the more we talk about it out loud, I do understand why she's not giving her more there, because Meryn's not ready. And if Anassa did give her that, she wouldn't listen.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know if she would believe her at this point.
Yeah.
Like you said, she's still so in love with Killian.
You don't think
She's going back to him.
any tiny nudge. Because think about that whole glass shattering moment you could have where somebody gives you the tiniest little nudge and your world just kind of like, you then look for examples of that from that moment going forward. It could have been the smallest little thing of just saying, I feel like trust your own gut.
Yeah.
Nothing against Killian. It could have been just simply trust yourself. You're not crazy. Trust your gut. She could have been looking for these little hints, these micro manipulations Killian was employing with her. Just anything to help a girl out.
No, I think she needed to figure it out on her own. I think the fact that she can tell that Anassa didn't trust him is like, should be in her mind the red flag.
Yeah.
And I think that like sometimes like as an older sister or as a friend, you're like, you know what? This person is not going to hear me right now. They are so deep into this that like they need to see it for themselves. And I feel like that is kind of where Anassa is. It's like, one, I can't say anything, and two, I'm gonna need you to figure this part out on your own.
Well, and again, think of it from Anassa's point of view. She is not telling a woman who has been in a relationship with this man for over a year now. Anassa really doesn't know her at this point.
True.
So why would Anassa have faith that even if she did start hinting at it, that Meryn would listen to it at all? Like, I'm assuming from Anassa's point of view, she's like, anything I tell this girl, she's not going to pay attention to.
Right. And she might even go back and tell Killian.
So it's not time. It's not
right.
You know what, Lindsey? I like your argument. That is fair argument. I can accept that. You won me over.
Solid.
Love it.
Win.
Love it. Score 1 for Lindsey, which evens me out to 0 since Sable Sorensen took away my mother theory. I was -1 and now I'm back to 0.
You got up there. I can accept that. It's like, Anassa's like,
Sable,
I
love you for that. Trust me, as much as I'm going to talk about that over and over again, I'm ecstatic that you shot me down in the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
They were very polite.
Yeah. I love it, but no.
But that's a great idea for someone else. For someone else.
Yes. All right.
Yep.
Well, guess who they caught?
They caught a Nabber, and
he really doesn't give them time.
I know. He really doesn't give them a ton of information. I feel like this is a plant, personally, that Killian planted this Nabber so that it could kind of appease Meryn to not learn anything, right? But he doesn't know who hired them. He does know that the kids are hidden in an abandoned warehouse in the southern quarter, but he doesn't know anything about Saela. And Meryn beats the crap out of him and kills him, and Killian puts on a theatrical show during this scene.
Yeah,
he's just acting.
He's just posturing. Yeah, 100%.
Gross, Killian.
Jinx, owe me a Coke. Gross, Killian.
Gross, Killian.
Ugh. And then they go back to his room.
Ick.
And he bathes her, which usually I love that trope. Washing her hair, right? Like,
not here.
This was kind of genius for them to put this in, like, oh wait, you usually like this, but not now. He bathes her and she blocks out Anassa. There's a quote: "His mouth comes to my neck, teeth grazing and then nipping, and I yelp, my back arching involuntarily." Nope.
Vampire.
Nope.
Vamp.
But not in a good way. That's not how we bite people.
No.
Vampire alert.
And like the word yelp did not make it sound like, oh, she's enjoying this. It was like this level of uncomfort that just
Like a
gave
dog
me
yelps when you hit it type of thing. Like
yes,
uncomfortable.
I hate
Ugh.
their sex scenes. I literally, in my
Can't
outline,
watch them.
it says they have sex because I literally don't even want to
Yeah.
have to dive in and outline. Like a
No.
lot of times in other books, we're like,
9
then
fucking pages.
No.
guess what
No.
happened? This
Not
one, my
here.
outline literally says they have sex.
I don't
Yeah.
blame you, Lindsey. I literally did not read one of their
Yeah.
sex scenes. I skimmed the first one and I'm like, I'm so cringe right now. This is really abusive. It's manipulation. It's nothing but
It was
that.
abuse.
From then
Yeah.
on, I was like, okay, skim.
I'm
Stark
out.
licks her neck, fully on board.
In.
Killian involved, skim.
Yep. No, completely agree. It was so problematic. It was so red flags. I think in her gut something was wrong because her body was reacting in a way that to me screamed that it was shutting down, that it was like recoiling from him, but she kept convincing, in my head the way that I read it was that she was convincing herself that she was enjoying this, that this is just how they were, and yeah, this is great, this is how we always have been, but it was like nope. So I didn't like these scenes, but I think for the book, it made so much sense that they were written the way they were because you needed to see just how manipulative and how much I think at her core, she just did not belong with him and how bad he really was for her. So
And
we're moving on.
I thought it was interesting. So many reviews where they're like, oh, there's spice and it's good. And I'm like, did we read the same book?
No.
I don't think we did.
The spice was the tattoo with the neck lick.
That was fantastic.
Just because there's spice doesn't mean it's spicy.
Good.
No, spice can be sexual abuse. It could totally be SA. Like there's a book that I've read that I was like, this is SA the whole time and it's not spice. So don't give it chili peppers because chili peppers are attractive kind of
Yes.
chili peppers.
Him
Chili
licking the
peppers are
neck,
hot.
Chili
attractive.
peppers are hot, right? Exactly.
Hot peppers.
Hot pepper.
This was cringe. I'm shriveling up. I can't take this anymore.
So a different type of training starts the next day. They start to strategize as a pack. Anassa does tell Meryn at training that she's pretty pissed at her that she blocked off their connection to each other during sex. I get it. You want some privacy, but Anassa just doesn't trust Killian and trust Meryn at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get details finally on the magic that each pack can manifest here. So the quote is, as you know, every pack has its own powers. Among the Strategos pack, wolves can share their enhanced strategic abilities, which are heightened by pack unity. They manifest in several key ways. 1, almost prescient understanding of troop movements. 2, the ability to spot weaknesses in enemy formations. 3, to calculate odds and outcomes with supernatural precision. Accessing this power requires complete synchronization between wolf and rider. So their link with their pack will allow them the unity that is needed to heighten their powers. The concept of magic and power still feels pretty vague at this point.
Yeah.
We really don't see a physical representation until later when Stark actually wields his physical wind against Jonah. But this is a start for the reader, right?
Yeah,
And it does make you like, Stark is really the only person that we see that win from. And it makes you wonder, A, why we don't see powers from other bonded in this book, or B, when powers exactly will manifest.
Yeah. It seems like such a vague concept, like power from my direwolf, how that is represented from like a physical force type of a way. It seems so much in theory right now.
Do we know if because they are alpha or beta or gamma, like if they're in a leadership role, do they have
stronger power,
extra power or stronger power? Or is this something that we know we read earlier that mated wolves can also have stronger and more enhanced powers? Could it be because he is in a mated bond, or do we think it's just we're going to learn more about other powers in the next book?
My guess is that they don't get more powers because they're alpha, but they're alphas because they have stronger powers.
Okay. I like that.
So then Meryn asks everybody out loud, why have the purging trials when direwolves and bonding is already so rare? And people really shit on her for asking this legitimate question.
Yeah.
And he says it's because the wolves are pack creatures. The trials are created for and by the wolves. But we find out at the very end that's total and complete BS. Anassa tells her that the trials, they can be whatever she wants them to be. And it was kind of like, it was another example of like, let's shit on Meryn Day. And she asks a legitimate question here. Why does it have to be this way? They're so rare. Why are we literally killing direwolves?
Yeah.
This is wrong.
And it's the first time she's actually asking a question. Let the girl ask a question.
Yes, she's finally being
knock her down. Yeah.
But
let the girl keep asking the questions.
I don't know. I feel like I keep being the devil's advocate tonight. Like, from their perspective, it makes sense. Like,
I agree.
It's that way because it's this way and it's been this way for hundreds of years. So why are you all of a sudden thinking that you're special? Now, is she special and should she question it? Yes. But from their perspective, they're like, what are you even talking about? This is just how it is. This is what the wolves do.
Yeah.
But,
but who's not being inquisitive?
This is the real question, people. Like, if you hear that question, you'd be like, oh yeah, why is the wolf government, like forcing us into this?
Yeah,
But
I think I
totally agree.
I understand their reaction because they're like, what are you even like, why?
Right.
Like, this is such an odd thing for you to question.
Right.
Like,
and it's uncomfortable to think of it any differently. It's like this, because it is Meryn, like, you don't get it, just move on, Yeah. I get that.
She's asking a legit question and she's acting like a real queen finally. Why does it have to be this way?
It's probably her first question in the whole book.
I know. Besides, do you hate me? No, she doesn't actually say that, but she thinks that I'm mocking her, but I actually do really like her.
You can like her and still very much say that, sweetie, you need
one's perfect.
Good group of friends to help steer you in the right direction.
At 100%. So we also get here the information from Anassa that she actually admits to Meryn that she has a mate and has known him for years, but she will not tell Meryn who he is yet. By a show of hands, how many of you knew that it was going to be Stark and Kratos in this moment? Okay, all three of our hands. Great. Yep.
Yep.
Here's the thing. I think we're supposed to make the connection. What I was excited about was like, now I can't wait for Meryn to find out because she's going to flip a shit because she hates him so much. Like, that was now the like fun for me was, we know it's going to be Stark, but I can't wait till she finds that out.
It was interesting because it's like we both get these spicy, quote unquote spicy scenes, but we get from the other triangle a very slow burn and enemies to lovers trope. It's like contrasting tropes with the different MCs here.
Yeah, it like was not a love triangle because they were never in play at the same time.
Yeah.
Like at all. Like she figures out who Killian is in the whole end scene, and then finally she realizes like they have that connection and it kind of switches over and it's like there's no triangle because she's not comparing them to each other, which I appreciated.
Except when he licks her neck.
Oh, I mean, she did say things are getting hot and steamy and I need to hide that because that was nice.
Meryn dreams of her mother again, but she wakes up and is in the arena exactly where her mother stood in the dream. I think it's hilarious here that, we ask, like, why isn't Anassa pushing her, helping her ask more questions? Because in this moment, she is opening her mind up to her wolf and wants to know if she's safe. And Anassa's response is, "Are you well? Go back to sleep. You're keeping me up."
Like, come on,
here
Anassa,
we are.
help a girl out.
Yeah, like this could have been the moment.
Right.
And you're like, I'm trying to sleep, bitch. Like, calm your thoughts.
Yeah. She glazes over it to make it seem insignificant when it wasn't. And she knew that it wasn't insignificant.
Yeah. I mean, she checks on her. Are you well? Great. Stop sleepwalking. Also, if you have a connection, mind-to-mind connection, and you let her sleepwalk all the way to the arena, like, clearly you let her do that because you wanted her to find something out. But then once she almost is about to find it out, you're like, yeah, you're keeping me awake. Go back to sleep.
Don't dismiss it. Say, you had a really interesting experience. Let's talk about it. You want to gab?
Let's talk about it.
Shall I get the popcorn?
Yeah.
Wine?
Come on, friend.
Let's talk about it.
I got all of that right here.
Yeah.
Popcorn and wine. Perfect.
So the next day in training, Meryn feels finally true pack unity for the first time. However, it is very quickly cut off because she starts to feel all those whispers and the voices again. Quote, "The worst of it is that for a single instant, I did feel it. The perfection of that unity haunts me now, like I stared at a beautiful light too long, and the after image is burned painfully into my eyes, following me everywhere I look." That is kind of heartbreaking to me.
Yeah, like such a beautiful moment, and then it's taken away by the whispers.
Yep.
And she is discouraged. Right.
Yeah, and we're assuming they're in the arena at this point, right? They're training in the arena, and she hears the whispers because they're above the crown.
The crown.
Right, the crown is right there, and it's calling to her.
Yeah. And it takes her away from that, which is sad.
It would have been nice if Anassa had kind of given her a little
Well, no, she does.
She does?
No, this is the moment. Does. Yeah. This is the moment where she finally does.
Finally.
Anassa tells Meryn that the visions that she's seeing are powerful and that they likely mean something. And in this moment, I'm screaming, "Listen to your wolf." Like she's finally
communicating.
She's finally communicating. She's finally there. She's finally pushing her. And of course, Meryn doesn't listen, which just proves all of our point earlier of like, this is exactly why Anassa has not been giving her this information up until this point, because Meryn still isn't listening. She even I think she almost fell off of Anassa in this moment because the whispers get to her so badly. And then she still doesn't listen to Anassa when Anassa's like, "Hey, that's probably important. You should probably pay attention to that."
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. That is
even
like
if it's
first
not
time, finally.
Yeah, even if it's not about your true queen heritage, you should probably pay attention to the fact that you're hearing whispers.
Yeah, you're not just sick. Like, this is important.
And then her reaction to that pisses me off because her response is, quote, "It hits me hard. I could die tomorrow without having told Killian that I love him again, that my heart's found a way back." Blah. Gross. I hate that that's her reaction to it.
Yeah.
Meryn goes to him and she asks him if the king has already picked out a noble bride for him. Ick, right?
Gross.
Or self-worth.
Yeah.
I know. I don't like
and
it.
his response is, "He knows I'm seeing a raw bound and it's serious. He has no objections. I alone choose who I love." So he's really like spinning it that it's this kismet sort of, we love each other, we can't be kept apart. But really, the king's totally okay with it because he knows who Meryn
exactly
is.
what's happening.
To be fair, he wasn't surprisingly lying in this moment. Not recognizing that this was a manipulation that the king and Killian were willing to go through with. Like he's
not lying, but he's
manipulating her.
He's manipulating her into thinking that his intentions are pure when they're not.
Don't disagree. But if you look at the technicality of it, it's like one of the few times where because when I was reading this scene, I was like, you're just going to be his dirty secret. He's probably got somebody else that he has to marry. Like, you will never be this person to him. And lo and behold, that's a non-issue, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the one time he actually isn't lying, that if Killian wants to marry her, he can make this happen. It's not something that can't happen.
Yeah. And then we get the grossest quote in the whole book, in my opinion. Even my first read, I was like, don't like the word claim. Killian says, quote, "Kitten, give me permission to claim you in front of the whole world, and I will." I hated that. Don't claim me. Like, I get that they were trying to make it cute and like, you're mine. It gave me the ick again. I hated it. They have some more weird possessive sex that we're going to move on from. And again, she wakes up screaming, and she is in his room, right? When she wakes up screaming, or does she? Yeah. So she wakes up screaming in his bed, and she's worried again that she is going down the same path as her mother and into her mother's madness.
And this just gives Killian more fuel to use against her later.
Yep.
Right.
And
like that down the road, he can blame the madness. Yeah.
Right, and he's seen it now. Ugh.
Yes. Well, then we move on to the purge trial. Each pack goes one at a time and purges the weakest member from their pack. And Meryn once again notices Stark is staring at her, but she just misinterprets why, assuming he's thinking, today you die, princess. She's just got such blinders on when it comes to Stark. And as this competition is happening, she thinks, oh, we've been marked for our weakness. But we find out it's just a ploy. The wolves have already decided amongst themselves to call Periel, and her cruel instincts will always end up dividing us. And that's how the...
Which I get it.
Yes.
Yeah, she was
Totally.
a weak link for sure.
Totally get it. But it's going to piss Jonah off.
Oh my God. Yeah.
For sure.
But it's like it pisses him off, but the entire pack does it. But let's target Meryn.
Right, exactly. Because he's just
Meryn is his person to blame.
Number one.
For sure.
Yeah. And then Killian actually grins at Meryn and gives her a little thumbs up, which was like so corny to me.
Corny?
Like, yeah. You're like, oh, great. But who sees the grin and the thumbs up?
Stark.
Mr. Stark.
Stark Therion.
Stark Therion. He saw the whole dang thing. And you guys, we haven't talked about this yet, but one thing that I will say too about this book is the gore, like the actual fight scenes in this book are, they're very well written, but like, and I shouldn't say, but I think more than there's a lot of fluff out there in the world about like romantasy and the books that women read and blah, blah, blah. And they're just smut or they're just this or whatever. And that they're not like hard hitting, you know, thinking about real political things and feminism and war. These friggin' scenes where the wolves cull the weakest members of the, like, it is gruesome.
They're battle scenes.
They're serious battle scenes. And some of these are so intense, like more intense than some that I've read in other places. And I'm like, this is not just like a floofy romantasy for women.
They're graphic.
Much more than that. It is graphic. It is gruesome. And it's gruesome for a reason. You feel just how awful this world is. You feel just like when the boy in the first scene gets killed right after she notices that it's Killian and he calls out for his mother. I like started to cry. I was like, this is awful that these things are. I'm imagining the wolf like trying to protect their bonded. All of that. It was just so emotional. And I just feel like I'd be remiss to not mention the writing and the battle scenes and all this stuff. It is harder hitting than I think a lot of people who don't read this genre realize. And so I appreciated that.
I feel like you could say that about a lot
of the books that we read.
The books that we read that people, I mean, it's a much larger conversation and one that we all have to defend all the time. It's like, oh, you're just reading fairy smut. And it's like, no.
I'm sorry.
Like,
I get so mad because I'm like, go watch any of the R-rated movies that the bros watch.
I'm like,
and tell me that there's one sex scene in it because that's the exact same thing.
Yeah. Like, and at the end of the day, people have sex. So when we are reading about characters in their lives, it makes sense. Like it bugs the crap out of me.
So,
but I mean, you can
read a book or watch a movie about it.
There's so many fantasy books that contain battle and war and violence. It's a natural part, I would make the argument, of a fantasy book.
And it exists here.
I will say a high
fantasy book.
High fantasy, because in high fantasy there are high stakes, and most of those high stakes have to do with battle or war of some kind.
And at least in this point, we're empowering a woman character to be more than the pawn of the man, the sidekick of the main male character. Like, she is a character in her own right. We're not like in so many movies, to your point, how it's like, there's a sex scene. And how many of those times have we trivialized the women in those books to basically be the sidekick for the main character? At least they're characters in these books in their own right. They're given a voice.
And here's the thing, I don't even mind sex scenes in movies. They exist, but don't then turn around and say that you can go watch this movie and be like, oh yeah, this is just the movie, and not I'm going to call it F1 smut. I'm going to start calling it, oh, you're watching that James Bond smut again? No, it's not. Like, it's deeper than that, and you know that. So don't just reduce what we're reading to the 5% of the book that it is.
Less.
I need to get off. Right.
Yeah.
Less.
And I think, actually, Catherine, to your point too, I think that's why we as readers are so bothered by Meryn in this stretch of
Yes.
the book
Yes.
because she is not standing on her own
Yes.
2 feet. She is standing behind a man and taking her power from him rather than taking the power that we know that she has
Yes.
inside of herself.
100%.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That is
Yep.
exactly what
But
we
anyway,
saw.
I just had to bring that up because I feel like
It's
it's
a good point.
something
Well,
that
all
I've
the
been
time.
thinking
I
about.
make the argument. I argue with people all the time.
Yeah, always. I'm like, go tell me the last movie that your brother or your husband or whoever it is that's telling you that watch, and I will tell you just how much gratuitous sex is in that movie that could be cut out and the plot still the same.
And
like,
not only the gratuitous sex, but tell me the female character and what role she played. Did she have any import to the plot?
Yeah.
Did she have any independence as a character for herself? No.
Yep. Let's get off our soapboxes.
Well, that is a wrap on chapters 16 through 30 of Dire Bound. Thank you so much for joining us for book club this week. Next time, we're going to be covering chapters 31 through 44. So be sure to join us for our next Fantasy Friday. And happy reading, guys.
Bye.